By a small sample we may judge of the whole piece. Cervantes. Hello, hello, and welcome to another journey in our painting today. And what I'm going to do is a ninja swipe. I've already placed a blue paint by Nick Pro. It's the Pouring Masters blue that I actually combined with some water to get it a little bit on the thinner side, and hoping it works out. Let me introduce you to my color palette. I'll be using Pouring Masters Lilac Field. It's running off. Just want to make sure it's thin enough for this. I'm using a Desert Sand, again by Pouring Masters. It's flowing nicely off my stick. A bubblegum pink. I think I want to thin that just a little bit. Just adding, I've actually combined some, just about 10 parts of Flutrol, excuse me, 1 part of Flutrol to 9 parts of water, give or take, so that it doesn't become too runny. The Flutrol seems to balance it out just a little bit more. So I do that so that I don't get just running water. I'm also using a Forest Green by Pouring Masters, and that is actually flowing nicely. Just give it a quick stir. That works. I'm using a blue bonnet, and it is close to the blue that I have here, but I think that when it interplays with the other colors, it will add a depth to this composition. And I'm also using a copper metallic. Metallic is not really cooperating too well. It's rather rainy, so that might explain why it's happening. A lot of humidity in the air. I'll also be using a little bit of the Deco Art 24 karat gold, which I have mixed with just water, and a little bit of titanium white with water once again. And the blue I'll be using as part of the swipe to get it to flow. All right, so let me just put this to the side. And what I'm doing today is actually, it's a reflective day for me. I'm thinking the rain just has a very comforting feel for me, and I like it. I like being inside and thinking about things, I guess, not overthinking, but this is a snippet of a memoir, peek into my early childhood. It's entitled Weeds Beneath the Open Meadows. And yes, I am Anna Casamento Arrigo. Anna Arrigo, thank you for subscribing. I truly appreciate it. Please do leave your comments, your thoughts on this. I want to focus more on the painting because what's going on is that my paint is becoming filmy on top when I let it sit for too long. So I have to kind of step back. And so I came from Sicily, or we came from Sicily. And I want you to imagine, I think of Sophia in, actually, I think I want to put some white down. I'm going to just do puddles in Golden Girls. I don't know if many of you are familiar with that. I think I want to start here with just a puddle. There will be a lot of paint on this. And she says, picture this, Sicily. And then it's 19 whatever it is that she's going to talk about. And she uses those comparisons to whatever situation is going on in the house at the time. And my dad was born in Sicily, but came here at a very young age. with his mom and two brothers and a sister, and his mom was expecting her fifth. And he worked here and was involved in a lot of different things. If you pick up my memoir, you'll discover some of those things, as it were. And came back to Sicily. Actually, he made quite a few trips back to Sicily as I looked back at the records and the logs of the ship logs that he had been on. And he was in his 60s, actually, early 60s. I'm going in with some more, just a little bit of white to break it up. He was in his 60s when he met my mom. My mom was in her 20s. And they did marry. I am one of 3 of his children with my mom. And I have an older brother and a younger brother. When we came here, everyone during that time period, I'm thinking probably now as well, thinks about the United States, going to America. Oh my goodness, the villagers in my town in Sicily, which is probably 1,000 people, including, or 1,000 population, including cows and goats and sheep and horses and mules. In any case, the image that everyone has of Sicily or of America, coming to America, and that land paved with gold isn't always like that. So we came or arrived in America, my dad, my mom, my brothers, and I. On the Frederico, we arrived here on May 8th, 1963. And my cousin, we call him cousin, even though he was old enough to be my dad. He was my mom's age. And he picked us up in his truck. And I remember so vividly going through the Lincoln Tunnel at the time, and I'm looking at this and saying, "Oh, is this America? Oh my goodness!" I was terrified as a little one. All right, it's starting to come off, even though I did level this. So I'm going to do a little bit less chatting, and I want to go in and just swipe this and to see where it goes. I think I want to go in with the smaller. I have these utensils typically used for cooking, but I want to swipe this out and hopefully get it to do some magic for us this morning. And I think about in Sicily and the mountains and the hillside. Our town is right at the base of Mount Etna, which, yes, is an active volcano. And I remember playing in those fields and the meadows. My title reads "In the Open Meadows," kind of reflects back to the time in Sicily, moreover to the time after we arrived here in America and the different situations and assimilations that I had to go through. And so in those meadows had we played as children. I came here when I was 7. I don't know if I mentioned that. But playing in the meadows and gathering violets, real huge violets, almost like the African violets, and creating crowns of different floral, the daisies and jasmine and whatnot. And so the idea of the laurel crowns just kind of inspired me to do this swipe against that blue sky and bringing in some of the colors. Okay, let's see. Just want to swipe too hard, so I want to tilt it a little bit bring it down. Step up. I think I want to go in with a softer, smaller. Just give it a swipe and wait. Creating a very abstract floral piece here. And I love some of them are spiraling out, and that's always a good thing. All right, I want to bring in some blue here before I move on. And as I swipe, it does take some of the paint off of the canvas, but no worries, because as I continue on and I do a little bit of tilting, it will hopefully all work out. I just want to tilt it a little bit to see where this is taking me on our journey to America. All right, I think I want to try this. All right, that one didn't work out as well as I had thought. So let me just wipe off my floor as the ninja kind of takes over here. Okay, it's easier to get the paint off when it's wet. All right, I'm going to come back in here and puddle out some more, using some more colors. I think I want to bring in some more of that sand color. I'm going to go in with some, no, I don't think I'm going to do blue. I think we'll do green. Yeah, so the adjustment, assimilating to this new world where we didn't have, or we lived in West New York with my aunt Katie and my uncle Joe, my cousin Joe, and they had a fruit store, and so we lived with them for a minute, over their fruit store before we moved to Jamestown, and it was very confusing times for a 7-year-old, as well as for my brothers. The cultural differences were tremendous, and I talk about that in my book, Weeds Beneath the Open Meadows. I'm going to go in with a little bit of gold. I don't want the gold to take over, but I do want to add a little bit more to this. I'm going to come in here with some blue just to get more swiping. Bring it around so that it has a place to flow when I swipe. I want to come in with some of my lavender or lilac. That was one of my favorite colors in Sicily, those beautiful violets that we used to gather for our crowns. So assimilating to the United States was a challenge. My father insisted that we speak English at a very, very early age, right at the get-go. He had introduced us to English when we were in Sicily, between his trips back and forth to the United States. And again, if you pick up my novel, my little under 100 pages, you'll hopefully have a greater understanding of that journey to the United States. All right, I want to come in, and I'm going to use this smaller one and just swipe it through. I think almost pretty. And I'm going to just add a little bit more here. I think my paints, I was trying to get them really thin to work for this. And a lot of the paint will be absorbed into the canvas. I am using 20 by 24 and 100, excuse me, 100, right? 1.5 deep. It's a gallery. Just want to, I will bring you in for a close-up, but we're not quite there yet. I'm just trying to get some of that off. And just want to step back for a minute and see. All right. I think we're going to go in with another puddle and bring it through. And we'll see how that goes. I like how it's creating some spiral effects and little tiny wisps of plants. And there are some here, almost a lacy effect. It's actually very pretty. All right, I want to come in. I think I'm going to start with the sand color. And I think I'm going to go a little bit farther into the canvas, or rather than start at the edge. And we'll see how that goes. I think this time we're going to go in with this copper. Again, Pouring Masters. One of my first memories, and I talk about it in the book as well, was Halloween. We didn't celebrate Halloween in Sicily. It was more of that All Souls Day, November 1st. We'd wake up, and if we were very, very good, we'd find what's called marzipan and dead man's bones, which aren't dead man's bones. It's actually a honey, flour, sugar concoction. Has the base is brown, lacy, very hard, very crunchy, and the top is almost like a piece of a bone. So they do have them here in the States, I have found. In any case, if we were good, we'd find those, yes, in our shoes. That actually, you'll find some of that tradition in like Holland, the Dutch countries. And so I'm going to go in with some pink, just a little bit. I'm going to put a lot more paint, I think, on this one. I want to go in with some blue. And so when we were here in the United States, and I was watching, and I really didn't understand, as I said, the language. So my brothers and I were sitting on our stoop then when we lived in Jersey City and watching, you know, the kids just going around with their costumes on. And I remember my brother saying, well, they're not coming to you, so they can't be very good friends. And I'm like, well, I don't know what that's about. Because I assumed that it was like in Sicily where the, the souls of those who had passed would come and visit and bring you those treats. So what did I know? So eventually we saw some of the trick-or-treaters heading our way. So we quickly ran into our house, our apartment at the time, and just waited. And when the bell rang, we were so excited because we were like, oh, we're going to get some treats now. Because, I was going by the assumption that things were as they were in Sicily. You were very good and we were good for the most part, though my parents would probably argue with that. In any case, we waited thinking, well, we were very good, so we were bound to get some treats. So when they knocked on the door, and I opened the door, and I didn't know at the time they were saying trick or treat. And they opened their bags, and I'm like, "Ooh, wow, look at this!" So I reached in and just grabbed a handful of their treats. Oh my goodness! You want to hear kids screaming? That would have been it. Learned really early that it didn't work as it did in Sicily there. So, but we were quick learners. So we went into my dad's wardrobe and scooped up a shirt, got a paper bag for our heads, and off we went trick or treating like all the other American kids. I do talk about that memory as well as others in Weeds Beneath the Open Meadows. All right, I want to torch it just a little bit. There are more bubbles here. And I want to go in. And I think I want to do this one. Oh, I'm liking what this is doing. I actually like that. I want to just bring in a little bit more of this paint where I swiped a little too hard. I don't want to wait until later where the paint dries off and that becomes a problem. I'm just going to tilt just a little bit just to break it through. And I think I want to bring it out toward you. And go this way. And I think I want to go down. All right. Let's see what's going on here. All right. We are going to go in and create some magic. We hope it's magic. Bringing our floral piece will give it more depth, more definition, more life. I like what it's doing, and I love the spiraling effect that is going on here and here. And there's a break pattern there as well, so I'm liking that. So let's see what else we can do with this. You know, children are so resilient, and it's just amazing the things that they adjust to if you can explain things to them so that they're not overwhelmed and confused, because situations like adaptation and assimilation and moving to an unknown can be quite frightening. All right, just step back just for a little bit. I want to see what's going on here. I need to do something here because it seems to be a little bit too much. So I want to go in with a little bit of pink or a lot, puddle it out. I think I'm going to bring in some white to give additional balance. I'm going to puddle in a little bit more than I had. I think I have enough green, so I don't want that, but I do want some more copper. Love the richness that brings. I am going to go in with a little bit more blue. I'm not understanding why it's tilting this way because I did use my leveler, but for some reason it's not cooperating too well. All right. It might have shifted as I was swiping, which is a strong possibility. Going in with some of that gold and just going to tilt it a little bit so that it stops running off. Though I'm liking the pattern it's creating underneath on my pad. All right. A lot of green. I want to go in with the stick this time and see. Oh, that's working out really well. There we go. I love when it spirals like that. Wild like the meadow. Okay. Just let me step back and see what's going on. Okay, I'll tilt it just a little bit. How's the weather by you? Just started in the middle of the night. And it's just a drizzle. But again, I don't mind it. And I'm thinking it shouldn't be too bad of a glare right now. Usually when I'm doing these videos, I've got that glare coming through from behind me. But since it's rather overcast and misty, I have the lights on, so I'm hoping that the composition is a little bit more clearer this morning. It is morning here. All right, so let's give some additional detail to our flowers in the meadow. I think I'm liking the pink, but I think we have enough. So what I want to do is actually introduce some gold. So I'm going to put some of the gold in the cup, and let's see. I'm going to take one of the sticks and just bring some more definition to this. And this is calling me right here. Just going to bring it through. And there we go. Yeah, that works. All right, so I'm going to go in here, and again with the gold, just a continuity to the composition, and making our floral pattern. Though I want them to be wild in nature, I do want them to have a draw to them as well. Okay, I'm going to go in here. I'm not going to bring that one all the way through. And here, just to break it. And pattern it out. There we go. Just complete floral pattern. I think next time I'm going to attempt it on a different color background and bring in a little bit more vibrancy by adding a yellow to it. It's not horrible. The green is actually reminiscent of the meadows in Sicily that I played in, collected flowers from. So it's not horrible. I'm loving the spiral effect that's going on here. Can't wait till this dries. Right, this is going here. And just going to continue this down, just following the contours and letting it go where it needs to. All right, there's a break right here that I want to explore. Right there. I think we're going to just create more. There we go. Just getting the structure. I don't think I'm going to do anything at the top part of the canvas, with the exception of right here, which seems to be calling me. Just bringing it out just a little bit. I think I want to go in with the brush. Just carry some of that out. And just wisps of grass to continue on. Oh, that's working out really well. I don't know if you can see what's going on, but that whimsical floral design is really breaking through on the canvas. I think I want to go in with some gold right here. Again, just to break it through just a little bit and continue it on. And here. Going to carry it through here. And just break it. It's almost like a stalk of a plant. And there were many. One of my fondest memories, also thinking back to Sicily, if I may, are the cactus pear that grew along the hillsides, the hill overlooking what's called Patti di Marina and Taormina, which are real high volume tourist attractions in Sicily. Beautiful, breathtakingly gorgeous views of Mediterranean seas, depending on which part of the island you're on. And the cactus pear, we as children weren't allowed to touch those. They have these needle-like structures on the outside, and those hurt, and they're difficult to get out. So as children, we were encouraged not to play with those. For the most part, we listened. We waited till our adults came along and gathered them. And prickly pears aren't. It's rather difficult to explain. They're not a pear, and their texture is off-putting for some. And inside, they're just seeds, nothing that you would spit out, and you just kind of eat them along with the pulpy meat of the cactus pear itself. Now, this is actually really pretty right here. Gold is working out well, especially in areas where the other colors are kind of taken over. I love the spiral effect that's combined that bubblegum pink with the forest green is really, really pretty. Just bringing in some wisps of gold, taking me back to the natural beauty of Sicily. My uncle, one of my uncles, my Uncle Bernie, my dad's brother, had a farm here in Jersey, in Long Branch, and I remember I so looked forward to visiting him there because he had a massive amount of chickens in his chicken coop, and the land was massive. And so I remember as a child when we visited him, we were allowed to roam, my brothers and I, on the acreage, the wild, as it were, reminiscent of my Sicily days, or my early days in Sicily. And it was just a very peaceful time when I visited there. Just trying to bring some more of the colors. Let me just step back because I sometimes tend to overdo. I do want to touch right up here and just kind of go over the contour a little bit. Breaking it through so it has a more natural flow to that. Let me just step back for a minute and see where else we can go with this. Just looking at the composition, I'm gonna try just think I want to blow out just a little bit if my My straw cooperates this morning. I'm going in with the blower. Just a little bit of movement, as it were, here. There we go. I'm liking that. Just giving it a little bit more of a softer feel to it. Right there. This, I think we need to just revisit it a little bit. So I'm going to go in here with a little bit of the pink. That's the beauty of this kind of painting. It is so forgiving. And goodness knows we can use some of that sometimes. Oh, we'll see how it goes. All right. Gold. I'm going to go in with a little bit of white. A little bit of that lavender. I'm going to just drizzle this way. And I think I'm going to drizzle a little gold green, that forest green. The only metallic in here is from the 24 karat gold and the copper. So it will kick it up a notch. I just want to add a little bit more. And again, just adjusting, assimilating. And I think I want to go in with this. Oh. There we go. All right, I'm going to just tilt it just a little bit. Break some of that off. I really like what's going on up here. Down here has become somewhat muddied, so let me see if I can, there we go. Oh, that's pretty. The way it's breaking through right there is really nice. Okay, I'm gonna just touch it up. Please do subscribe. Leave some comments for me. Your thoughts. Really would appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to just do a little bit of unconventional. Normally we'd just do a puddle, but I think I want to break some rules. Would be a rule breaker. I don't know. As children, sometimes we do have a tendency to, I don't know. I like to think of it as exploring our world, and so I did a lot of exploring, but none in the United States that really connected me to nature outside of when I did visit my uncle's farm. I'm going to go in with some of this lavender again. I'm going to introduce a little bit of the sand. And this time, let's break some norms. I'm going to use an egg beater. Let's see, stir things up a little bit. There we go. Let me just step back. A little too much white right here. Just trying to break it up just a little bit. Make that pattern. And there we go. Complete abstract. And nothing in nature we know is uniform. And there's such a beauty in that. Okay, I want to tilt some of this off. And I hadn't really planned on tilting it. I'm loving what's going on here. And here there's a real, it's kind of a bouquet of flowers. So I do want to take you in. I don't think I'm going to do anything with it anymore. So let me take my gloves off and bring you in for a close-up. Kind of getting an aerial view, going around, so you get view from here. I'm liking what's going on here. Let's stalk. And here's our bouquet of wildflowers, collection of those flowers from my early days in Sicily. I'll bring you out. And again, as it dries, the paint will continue to do its magic, and hopefully more will show and come through in the composition. Take you through some of the artwork that has dried. Pieces, similar but not. I did one for Paris Afton Bonds, Daisy Wood, did Ava Pasco, did I Ching, Chang Lim, florals, and ocean. And some have already been sold, so I cannot show you images of those. But there we have some of the compositions that are still available. The keenest sorrow is to recognize ourselves at the sole cause of all our adversities. Sophocles, be good to one another and yourselves.